beautiful soul, thank you so much for joining me. This is a very impromptu message, but I felt really called to share. About a year ago, I would say around this time, well, not around this time at all, it's currently November, but around like August, Leo season of 2022, I believe, so maybe like 2 years ago, I went through a period of asking spirit if I could go on a deeper spiritual awakening. I had my first spiritual awakening in 2019 or 2018 or something like that. I was like 13 or 14. And then again, when I turned 17, 18, like 16, 17, 18, my spiritual awakening kind of went through a second layer of deepening. So I recently asked over the summer, specifically, I asked, like, can I go on like a deeper journey? Like, I want to go on a deeper journey. And I have my tea with me because there's something going on in my throat, y'all. I don't even know. It literally feels like something is scratching my throat, but there's nothing there. And like every time I cough, it's just dry. So I do have me some tea, which I will be sipping on throughout the course of this little video to help with my little throat. But anyways, I was going through the second deepening of my spiritual awakening. Now tell me why recently I realized when you manifest things, you manifest the journey that it takes to get to that point. So I'm currently at a space with myself where I have manifested every single thing that I have intended for up until this point. Every single thing, without a doubt, every single thing that I have intended for, I've manifested up to this point. But I'm the type of person that often fails to look back and look at the progress that I've made and look how far I've come. I tend to be someone who looks at the future and continues to only see what I can do to improve and what I can do to move forward, right? And think so deeply about the future and things that are happening. So when I first started going on this journey, Spirit literally said you have to start with your ancestors. There's no way that you can attain a stronger, in my personal journey, there's no way that I can attain a stronger relationship, or I couldn't have attained what it was that I was asking for, basically, because I was asking for something very specific, and it had to do with, leveling up in my spiritual journey. And I remember they were like, you have to start with your ancestors. And that was something that was uncomfortable and honestly difficult at first when it came to developing a relationship with my ancestors, because essentially it's like remembering all the things about my great grandmother who passed away and the connection that I have because everyone shares energy cords, living or dead. There's energy cords. It can't be destroyed, it can't be ignored, it's simply transformed. So our energy cord is still very much so there, it's just transformed, and it's very different. And my relationship with her, beyond the grave, is very, very different than what it was in person, obviously, because of that transformation. Now, something I realized was the blockages that I was experiencing within my dad and the experiences that I had within my grandma were all connected to the blockages that I had within my great grandmother. Okay, so to get where I am now, I had to go through each level, and each level was very difficult and very challenging, and whatever. That's not the point. The point is, eventually, I got to a point where it feels like her memory is active. It feels like when I'm channeling these visions of her, they no longer feel distant per se. They feel present. They feel with me currently. And that shift, along with a bunch of other shifts in my life, made me realize that a lot of the root of fear that I have in my life right now is fear of failure. It's fear of not being able to achieve all the big and major things that I have planned. You know what I'm saying? It's a fear of, the things that are holding me back, literally. And the thing that is holding me back is ultimately fear. And I realized that when things appear to not be going our way, especially when we have a specific manifestation in mind that we want to call into our life, if things do not feel like they are in alignment with that manifestation, we freak out, because we're like, well, Why is everything going wrong? Like, I literally want nothing more than peace, and I'm having problem after problem after problem after problem. So that's where Eshu comes in. And Eshu is the spirit that lingers at the crossroads, pretty much. Eshu was the god that created time. He is the creator of time, the creator of destinies. He is kind of like the epitome of like darkness, or like the moon energy. In my opinion, the way I see him is like the ruler of all darkness, the ruler of all the unknown, the trickster, the one who he rules over truth, but he's also the jokester, if that makes sense. So like Eshu just symbolizes to me like the grandest possible energy that I can even explain. And he is at the crossroads because he governs our destiny, because he holds the secrets and the truth behind all of our destinies before we were even born. So, and this is like going back into like ancient African Yoruba beliefs and like spirituality. So that's where, you know, this is coming from. But so if he's at the crossroads, I notice that something that I do every time that I experience a obstacle or a problem or a situation, I throw my hands up and I say, why? Like, why is this happening? Why is this happening to me right now? Like, why am I even in this predicament? Like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. And I realized that instead of throwing my hands up and asking him why, it's more so him taking initiative to ask me why. You know, ask me, why am I intended on this specific goal? Whatever blockage shows up is almost like a trick. It's almost like a obstacle in a game, like when you have to defeat another level, you know. So it's kind of like when I get to that point, rather than like throwing my hands up and asking like, why is this happening to me, approaching it from a place of like, this is definitely happening for me, and approaching it from that determination, because that determination is ultimately what shows my loyalty to my goal. Because in my opinion, the goals and dreams and aspirations we have, they're also entities. They're also energies that, you know, we want to manifest and we want to cultivate, we want to magnetize to, because that's the frequency that we're trying to radiate at. And a lot of times, you know, I'm not even saying this in just a high vibrational aspect. A lot of times we manifest negative situations into our life because that's the frequency and the energy that we are at. So naturally, we might not even realize that we want the worst possible scenario to happen, because that is where our frequency is. But, you know, speaking in terms of like wanting to manifest a really high vibrational thing, right? In order to attain that vibration, in order to manifest that thing, you have to go through trials and tribulations. It's boot camp. So consider yourself a student and consider yourself a baby at that. And it's like Elegua will meet you at every point that you think you're ready, and he'll meet you and he'll give you a crossroad, and you have to make a choice. And it's almost like he's asking you to choose at that particular moment. So I say all of that to say, however you cope with blockages, however you cope with obstacles in your path, the point is not, you know, that you're manifesting so that you can receive your desire overnight and that it's supposed to be easy. And you can, you know, manifest a belief that things happen easily, because they can. And honestly, anything is genuinely possible. I believe that manifestation doesn't have to be hard. I used to believe that it was hard, and it was hard. Now that I'm, you know, in a completely different vibration, it has been made easy. But it has been made easy through the obstacles that I've been given and through the choices that I had to make in my life, where it's like I might have to make this difficult decision now, but ultimately it's to serve a higher purpose of I need to create more ease, more flow, more pleasure in my life. And by making this hard decision now, I'm looking out for, you know, my destiny, low-key, in the grand scheme of things. So spirits have unique ways of communicating with us. The reason that I got this, or the way really that this message came to me, was I was doing yoga and a hawk, like a big, like when I tell you a big ass hawk, like a big ass hawk flew and was just sitting right there. And my ancestors, they always leave me like feathers everywhere, scattered everywhere. And I like, it'll be like the perfect feather. It'll be like the perfect shape, the most beautiful shape, in a really odd and unusual place, facing directly towards me at a specific angle. Like, I promise you, I know. So they leave me feathers often. And when I was first starting my spiritual awakening, these feathers used to be small, and sometimes they are still small. But I've noticed that the shape of the feathers have changed, and the the size of the feathers change depending on like the different messages. And something I'm realizing is that I feel like I'm graduating from not just getting feathers, but getting whole birds. So what that means to me is the hawk represents spiritual, like, clairvoyance and clarity altogether, because hawks fly, they're big, and they have really, really, really good eyesight. They're known for like being clear on their eyesight. Not only that, but they can see from a higher perspective. They can not only see each individual path that's being taken, but they can see all the paths that are being taken. So that reminded me to kind of like shift my energy, look at things from a higher perspective. And it made me realize that when it comes to obstacles, when it comes to challenges, when it comes to difficulties in the life, when it comes to just being in a place that you are not comfortable in, it always comes down to testing your faith. What story are you choosing to tell yourself about your situation? And understand that whatever that story is related to the way that your thought process is going to happen. Because at the end of the day, your beliefs create your reality, right? What are your beliefs? Your beliefs are made up of the things you've seen, the things you think about the things you've seen, the way you internalize and interpret the things you think, the way you internalize and interpret the things that you have seen and felt, and then ultimately the beliefs that you make based on the way that you interpreted the thing that you saw, based on the thing that you know what I'm saying? So ultimately it's a big cycle. And so whenever you are able to come back to the root of the cycle and start with what evidence in my life proves my belief system, okay? And what I mean by that is, say I have a belief system that I am not good enough. What evidence in my life has shown me that I am not good enough? Okay, and how are we going to transform that? And then you could go back and say, I have a belief, or I'm trying to instill a belief maybe that I'm worthy and that I am deserving and that I, am joyful and blissful. So you could go back to the root again and ask yourself, what evidence in my life shows me that I am worthy, that I am determined? And wherever you see blockages, wherever you see issues, and wherever you see flow, you can kind of integrate that and then create new beliefs about yourself and about your situation and ultimately about your life. And that's kind of how you begin to shift things at a cellular level. You got to do that shadow work and really think on the feelings that's coming up, because things do not happen for no reason. There is literally no such thing as coincidence. And the reason I say that is because if you imagine you were God and you created everything that existed, light, darkness, earth, the sky, the galaxy, sun, moon, stars, human beings. Say you created everything from the beginning. God created us too. If he created everything that ever existed, he knows, or she knows, whatever you believe, knows, this energy, this benevolent being knows what's going to happen when it's going to happen. So therefore it was predetermined. You know what I mean? It's I'm not saying that we don't have free will, because that's the one thing that God gives us choice over. But ultimately, that consciousness knows every choice that could ever possibly be made, each direction that could possibly have come out of another situation, and every single thing that has ever had to occur in order to create a certain predicament. So with that being said, there is no such thing as coincidences. There is no such thing as desiring something so deeply in your soul for no reason. So if this is your message, keep going, keep doing it, keep working, keep believing, keep doing everything you can to instill, I am going to not only manifest my goals and desires, I have the peace within me to manifest all of my goals and my desires with ease. It doesn't even have to be a really hard journey if you don't let it. You know what I'm saying? There's things that we can let go of. There's work that we can do on ourselves. It's starting with the breath, starting with visualization, starting with meditation, starting with moving the body, dance, yoga, starting with little things to help us move the energy around within us so that we can diagnose ourselves, so that we can release what we no longer need, and so that we can ultimately ascend and become such lighter versions of ourselves. And by lighter versions of ourselves, I mean releasing the weight. I mean experiencing bliss and joy and ease and peace. which is ultimately the root of our happiness. You know what I mean? So I think that no matter what you're manifesting into your life, if you manifest it from a place of ultimately, I'm doing this because I want it to be the most, I want to make myself happy, basically. I want it to be the most fulfilling thing that I can do for myself in this moment. Then my love, any blockages, any obstacles, any difficulties, any challenges that you have along the way are helping you, testing you to see if you're going to choose that vibration, if you're going to choose to make that shift, if you're going to choose to put yourself in alignment when you're being met at those crossroads. And if you are going to continue to, follow that destiny, then Elegua will give it to you. Eshu will give it to you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he obviously governs your fucking destiny. So if you're continuing to, let your soul go down the path that it wants to go down, it might be hard. No one ever said it wouldn't, but it's going to be hard either way. It's going to be hard to stay. It's going to be hard to move. So you might as well be satisfied and have your goal and, be uncomfortable and end up with your manifestation, or be uncomfortable and stay where you're at forever. That's the message that I had for today. Hope it resonates with you. And if there's anything that was unfamiliar in this video that I could have explained more, or that I could have, done better at communicating, let me know. And I hope that this brings you some peace and some ease and some clarity, as well as some confirmation. This is the green lights, boo. This is the green lights. Okay, I love you, and I will talk to you later.